Welcome to another episode of Does This Offend You? Today we talk about niceness versus kindness. Is there a difference? We think there is. Are you a nice guy? Are you a nice girl? Do you always finish last? Well, this episode is for you. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.
What do I have to say to make some money? What do I have to say to make some money? No offense.
Welcome in, everybody. Episode 9. Count them, 9 episodes. Today we are talking about the difference between being kind and being nice. Yeah. All right off the bat, I'm very confused, so I'm going to give it to Omid to explain. Go ahead.
Hello, y'all. So I'm sure, as we all know, there's usually a general trend in society where we expect people to be, nice to each other or be kind to each other. And we use those words interchangeably. But what I would like to do is to create a distinction between those two words, because I feel like there is another disease in this world. And there's just some people that are too goddamn nice. You know what I mean? Like, people that are, and this is how I'll define being nice, somebody who is incapable of saying no to something. So they will literally go out of their way to be able to say yes and do anything. And I think one of the bigger distinctions between being kind and nice is that somebody that is nice, one, is incapable of saying no, and they also tends to be people pleasers. And I just personally think that that's troublesome, and I think more people in this world should strive to be kind, which in my head implies that you have every ability to say no and you have the power to say no, and they know you do, but you do it basically out of the kindness of your heart, or you're doing it because you're trying to do a nice thing for somebody. And I think basically we don't have to talk about those differences, but I really think that people should start distinguishing between those two ideas. And I thought of this idea when, I know a lot of really good people in my life. And I'm not saying anybody that's really nice is a bad person, but sometimes there are people that are just too goddamn nice to a point where you're just like, dude, now I feel sorry that I'm asking you, and I have to be like, hey, feel free to say no. I won't be offended. I am okay if you can't come to this event. You guys know what I'm talking about? Like, have you guys ever experienced this? People that are just too nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Speaking, do I have the floor? Or
Yeah, please. I open-ended question.
Okay, yeah. As somebody, not to sound super fucking conceited, I was that guy for a very long time. Someone who was just overtly nice, and it was way too much. And I can see how detrimental that can be to someone's lifestyle because I experienced it. Like, it's actually like a level of insanity. Like, you know what I mean? It's not. It actually touches on a psychologically. It's not correct. I don't think it's like good for anybody. Being nice is a state of mind. It's not like a thing you do. Granted, I've grown out of that phase, and like I do divvy my kindness to a degree. Like I like to, I'm not overextending is a word. But I still know people who are like that. I had to deal with somebody the other day. Actually, today I had a a personal anecdote that Omid's directly involved in. We were hanging out the other day, and yeah, well, we were hanging out. It was 2 days ago. We grabbed some lunch together, and 2 days from that, I got a text from somebody who was involved. They will not be named, but they'll know probably by the story. They're probably a fan of ours. But they texted me saying, "Sorry, it was rude to invite the extra guest over or whatever to this lunch that we were on or in together." And I was just like, my mind was blown. I'm like, why are you apologizing for just inviting somebody else to like a hangout that we were part of? I'm
Did
like,
you do that?
Yeah, but like it was an accident. He like went through the whole explanation of he was like asking, like telling me like, oh, it was like he just wanted, this guy showed up and it was like, hey, I thought he was gonna leave after, but he ended up coming with us. And it was just like, I was just like, what the fuck? I was like taken back by the whole thing. I was like, I don't care. It's fine. It's totally fine. You don't have to be like super like It's no big deal. It really wasn't. And this guy he was apologizing. This guy, you know who it is. I know Omid knows who it is.
I want you to text him and be like, you know what? Because of that, we are no longer friends.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Fuck everybody for involving me in this.
Yeah.
And you'll see that person break down.
Exactly. That's kind of like the heart of the issue. It's like if I had come back with anything other than it's okay, or like I didn't even think about it, I don't know how that would have affected somebody like that. I think that was probably on their mind for 2 whole days before they text me like a fucking essay apologizing for something that like wasn't even a part of my fucking conscience. You know what I mean? And that is that is really the heart of the issue, because people who are nice, who go out of their way to help other people, sometimes it's not even fucking noticed, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
What you're seeing here too is like being overly empathetic to other people's feelings, which is again a great trait to have. But again, like sometimes you just gotta let other people be who they are and don't apologize for them. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I feel
absolutely.
like it was nothing that we noticed. I mean, I'm sure it's like if you wanted to be nitpicky, you could have found something rude or something wrong with what was going on, but nothing there. You know what I mean? And I know what you're talking about, so I'm kind of like trying to put it in my head together and stay subjective, but yeah. What about you, Vlad? What do you think?
I have no idea what the fuck you guys are talking about, but
You don't.
yeah. With me, I don't like nice people. I think that nice people are pretty fake. Me personally, there are a few people in my life who I've genuinely met who are genuinely kind. Prime example of a friend named Sebastiano. We had our get together here at the house, and I invited him. He never showed up, but he came like the next day or 2 days after, and he calls me. He's like, "Hey, my bad for not showing up. This and that. Let me drop by. I baked you guys 2 loaves of fresh bread." And I'm like, "Okay, sure, drop by, man." Yeah, dude comes out of his way from work, brings 2 like freshly baked loaves of white bread, talks for a bit, says he likes the place, yada yada. Genuinely nice person, reaches out, tries to bring something, not show up empty-handed. Apologize for not being there, which I wasn't mad about. But there's a certain type of style with these types of people who are genuinely nice, where you can kind of feel it in your core, like this person is so fucking innocent that they're just like, they mean what they're doing. And that's not something that I feel with most people. A lot of people I feel like who are, nice to you, a lot of times they're either a kiss ass or they have some sort of alternative agenda. Like they're trying to do something that might benefit them, that might involve having you be a part of. I'm very nitpicky with that sort of thing. I know it's negative, but it is what it is.
Wow, interesting. So you take it like a different approach to this. A person who's
and
nice.
And I can see what you mean, because someone who's nice usually doesn't want to do what they're saying yes to, and then they're the ones you're gonna find complaining about it, and you're just like, bro, like, thanks for doing that, but you didn't have to.
And they have to highlight that.
Yeah, and then it becomes like a burden on you for asking or whatever, or it becomes because it was a burden on them, and it's like, dude, like I didn't want to burden anybody. Like if you didn't want to do it, by all means.
Mm-hmm.
Now if you like twist their leg or something and like, hey, I really need you, and you burden them, then they can hold it up like on over you. But no, I just think that there's like a real problem though, that people think that they're not everybody. Definitely I know a lot more dicks and assholes than I do like actual nice people. But I also like I don't want to feel bad for you, because I don't want to see someone getting taken advantage of and have to be the person that can't ask them for a favor either, because I know that like I'll just be another person on the list that they're just like annoyed at, or they have so many other things to do because they're already doing so many things they don't want to do. I don't know. Go on.
No, it's true. There's actually like a degree of selfishness involved. Someone who's like super nice, because you're basically imposing a tax on someone else who didn't ask for anything in the first place. I mean, I used to, man, like when I was much younger, and I would jump through hoops for fucking everybody. Right? I used to do this with you guys. You didn't even notice, like in like Omid or Vlad or whatever. Like if you guys were like bored or something on like a Friday night, I'd be like, okay, cool. I was doing this one thing with this one guy. Oh, but I can like get them to do this instead, and then grab these people and put them here in this boat, and like I just like fucking you.
Yeah.
Everyone was just super oblivious, but for me, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make these guys nice. I'm gonna have everyone's have a good time, meet each other. It's gonna be great, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
and then of course, and then everyone else trying to get everyone else to like coordinate. I'm sitting in the center of it. You can understand how frustrating, how difficult that is for one guy to take care of, right? So at the end of the day, after all of this all was said and done, everyone sort of had a good time or whatever. But like I would get no thanks, no appreciation for it because obviously none of them really knew what was going on behind the scenes. But I took it upon myself to try to make everyone's lives better. Yes, kind of selfless, but also the fact that afterwards I felt a little shittier for it is the selfish part, and that like I'm painting a picture in my head of other people and how they're like basically ungrateful pieces of shit, but none of them even knew what I was doing.
Right.
So that's the degree of selfishness involved within the selfless endeavor. Kind of a little ironic. Yeah.
Yeah. And like how many things in that story do you think you can say would only like boost your ego and pretty much put you on a higher moral plane than everybody in that story? Because it's almost like you did this great thing and you did it seemingly to have everybody be happy at once. You didn't want, like, you pretty much being a people pleaser for one, but also like you were coordinating, you were the planner. And then in your head, you're just like, hey, look, I am responsible for everybody's fun because I put that on my shoulders, you know? And it almost ruined the fun for you because now you're sitting there being like, am I gonna get a thanks? Huh? Huh? Who likes what I just did? Huh? You impressed? Yeah, I just turned up everybody's plans and, flipped everything upside down, but I made it work because I wanted everybody to be equally happy except for me. Right? And it's almost like you shot yourself in the foot in a way because you're putting yourself on, like, you're trying to be a martyr, but for what? And that's where I wanted to transition a little bit too, into kind of like the importance of selfishness, because you touched on it, but I really want to like emphasize that like we look at selfishness as something that's very negative, but again, it's ironic that we're looking at niceness as being a bad thing, but now I'm trying to flip selfishness as like sometimes it's okay to be selfish, and so I don't think people talk about that enough. I don't think people talk about the importance of looking after yourself once in a while, taking out some time and just being like, fuck the world. Like, don't actually like literally do anything that's going to harm other people for your own gain. I think that's a horrible thing to do. But there is moments where you don't have to be pleasing somebody except for yourself. And if something is inconvenient to you and you don't want to do it, just say no for your own mental health. Because like at the end of the day, you're nobody's hero but your own.
That's a great saying. Yeah. Go ahead.
So here's my thing. If you're going to be doing any sort of thing that's nice or kind, expecting to get a positive response from people, you're not doing it for the people, you're doing it for yourself at that point. And that's the issue here for me. Like, everybody knows me. I'm an asshole. I don't sugarcoat it. I say things without a filter most of the time.
No, you're just Russian. It's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, anyone who knows me for a long time and has been at parties with me or has seen like parties that I've had to more or less have my hand in hosting, I've always been more like a control freak in that regard, where I don't like to get drunk. I try to be sober, make sure things are in order, make sure people are behaving themselves, there's no problems. If somebody gets sick, try to step in and help out. I don't do it for the people. I do it for myself. I do it because I like to have the peace of mind knowing that things are okay, there's no issue going on, I don't have to freak out, nobody's dead, nobody's fighting. I feel comfortable. It's for my own comfort. I'm not going there and be like, yeah, I expect you guys to thank me afterwards. Like, no, fuck that. I'm not here for it. I don't care what you think about it. People might call me a stick in the mud for not being drunk and for being like, trying to be in control. Cool. That's your opinion. I respect it. I don't agree with it. It just makes me feel better, so I'm doing it for myself in that regard. I don't ever try to do anything for anybody else. Like, there's very few things in this world that I will go out of my way to try to do to provide for another person, because it's just not my nature. And like I said, people kind of take my behavior sometimes as me being a nice guy and be like, "You're so sweet," and I'm like, "You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. I'm not sweet. Just because I helped you out is because I'm doing a decent human thing. It's human
Yeah.
decency. I'm doing it out of like literally. It should be the standard for everybody to help people out when they're in trouble, but it does not mean that I'm trying to be like all up in your fucking face and trying to tell you like, yeah, I'm such a good guy. And you need to congratulate me and say thank you and all this and praise me. Like, no, fuck that. So
No, yeah. I agree with you, man. Like, I'm the same way. Sometimes, like, you have a big group of going out, and the norm now is that everybody gets Ubers and everybody gets trash and everybody has a good time. And I love that idea for people, but me personally, I hate it. I don't like when everybody gets trash because I think it's too messy. So, if that's the case, I personally, like, I like getting drunk, but I clearly don't like it as much as everybody else, and I'm okay with that. I don't mind being the DD, and it's something that's also selfish to me because I also get to be in control. Like if I want to go home or if I need to be somewhere, I do have that luxury versus depending on this app. But man, I got some funny ass stories of people that played that game of everybody getting drunk, nobody's held accountable for anybody else, and shit goes bad. It almost always does. Alcohol isn't something you do to be responsible. Okay? And no, I 100% agree with you. And I also agree with the fact that, especially when it comes to people who are being nice, I've noticed that they do something, usually expecting something in return, even if it's something emotional. Someone who's kind is going to be doing it and they don't expect anything in return. They don't hold it against you or anything. They're just like, no, I'm doing it because I want to do it, you know? Whether that wanting it is like, I want you to be happy, so I'm doing it, that totally counts. But if you want them to be happy and you're like, oh, like, I need you to repay that favor, that automatically takes away from it. Like it takes away from what seemingly could have potentially been true altruism at its core to all right, now there's strings tied to this.
and that's the other question. That's the other thing. Like humans have a tendency of guilt tripping each other a lot. Like, oh yeah, I did this for you. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure even at some point we've all been in that position, including myself, where like you treat people really well and somebody just kind of flips on you. You're kind of like, dude, like, why are you flipping on me all of a sudden? Like, I think I've been pretty good to you. Why are you suddenly being such a fucking dickhead? I think we've all been there to some extent at some point. I don't, like I said, I'm not usually very vocal about it, but it definitely has popped in my head because I'm kind of like, if you need something, I'll do my best to help provide to make sure that you're happy. But like when I'm asking you to do something and you're just like not able to do it, and I feel like there's a degree of what you can ask a person what's acceptable. Like you wouldn't tell them like, "Hey, go murder this guy." No, but like you're saying like, "Hey, can you like go bring this case of water downstairs?" And the guy snaps at you, and you're like, "Why are you snapping at me? Like I help you all the time. Like I'm asking you to take this fucking downstairs. What's the big issue?" I think there's a parameter of what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, but it's just more of like I think it's a case by case scenario, if that makes sense.
Good pun. Good pun. I like that.
Shut up.
Hey, someone had to acknowledge it. Good job, Vlad.
I
You're
don't think it
getting
was
funnier.
intentional.
You're getting you should be a dad. That was a good one.
Probably
That's
is
why I
already.
follow. That's why. Fuck you. That's why I follow Instagram dad jokes all day. Anyway, but yeah, but I mean, I honestly like but generally for me, from my experience, nice people, there's always an agenda behind it. Like especially like in the workplace. Have you ever been in a workplace and you see all these little like kiss asses who come up and try to be like, "Hey, what's up?" like to everybody and try to be like, "Oh my god, you look so good," or "Oh my god, this and that," and you're just like, dude,
I literally just had a server that talked exactly like that, and I was like, this motherfucker wants a fat tip. I do
yeah.
food service, and I don't talk to people like that at all. I'm just chill. I'm a human being. I'm like, "Yo, what do you want? All right, cool."
Yeah, and at the same, and then like I'm telling you, workplace I have because I have like supervisors, managers, and some of them just like you can tell by a person they talk to you when they are legitimately interested in you. And some of these guys are just like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? How'd your weekend go? Like, what's up? Hey, oh yeah, you go out? Oh, that's crazy. And like, and literally somebody else walks by and they just completely change their course of interaction and like focus on the next person. It's like, dude, why are you talking to me? If you're not interested, like, I know it. Some people you can just get that gut feeling that they're just one of those folks that can just throw you under the bus at any moment for anything at all. And it's a hard feeling. It's a hard scenario to really describe, but like your body can really like I hate using this fucking term, but your body can sense the vibes around you. I fucking hate that term.
Oh, vibes. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I fucking hate that term. But yeah, your body really can tell. Go ahead.
So you guys are both insinuating like, so there's like a, okay, I'm gonna start with what Vlad said to begin this back and forth between you two. You're saying that there's like a breaking point to niceness, like somebody will snap at one point when there's like something asked of them because they've been carrying this burden for so long, like with
No,
the
no, no,
water
no,
bottle
no, no,
story.
No, no, no. But I
what do
do
you?
think that what I'll add on to that is that I do think that for nice people, there will be a point where they're gonna want something and they're gonna expect it from you. And if you say no, then they're gonna like they could have this list in their head and be like have all these expectations of you because of all the favors they've done for you, and then just be completely let down and then unload on you.
Right, that's very fair. But so now you're, I think you guys are blurring the line between being nice and being completely fake. So those things don't have to go hand in hand. Someone can be nice, like completely like self-martyr
Oh
and not
yeah.
really expect anything. But you're, when you bring it to light, something like a waiter coming up and being like, "Hey, how's it going? How's your meal?" Like that's just a fucking job. Everyone can see through the facade. It's not totally like hidden. Everyone knows the game. Be nice, get a tip
Let
or
me
whatever.
let me
Like,
cut you in on one
yeah.
thing though before you continue. So this is just in regards to what you were saying with the nice expecting something back. Why I touched on that specific point was because let's say hypothetically we have Jay. He hangs out with us a lot, comes over, does things, yada yada. Let's say Jay helps out with some stuff at the house. Let's say Jay one day is here doing something to help us out, and fucking he asks us to do something for him. Let's say he, like I said, he's been helping out doing dishes, maybe took out the trash, all this stuff, and he says, "Hey Danny, can you take the water case downstairs?" And you're like, "No, the fuck." He might be like, "Yo, like I don't ask you for a lot, just like can you like help me out with this?" And it could be like, for instance, or let's get an example of Steve. Steve and I have been friends for so long. We've both been going out. A lot of times he would need to ride somewhere, or shit happens. He gets drunk. It's his birthday. I come pick his ass up. Yada yada. And a very rare, rare, rare blue moon, I get drunk. If I call him and say like, "Steve, yo, I'm wasted. Can you come get me?" and he blows up saying like, "No, fuck you. What the fuck?" That would be kind of like, dude, like I don't want to be selfish by saying this to you, but if I helped you out so many times, like, and I'm asking you for like this one favor because I'm possibly in trouble, can you come pick me up because I'm drunk? That shouldn't be an issue for you. And I think that's a reasonable balance there. You don't have to be like people like, "Oh yeah, I did this for you, so you need to do this for me." Like, no. If I did like 1,000 fucking favors for you and I ask you for one and you're bitching at me, I think it's somewhat understandable when you're gonna be like, "Yo, like, you could at least help me with this after everything."
Yeah, but at the end of the day, there's still favors. You should not be giving them out with anything. If you expect one single thing in return, then that's not a favor. You're doing exactly like the thing that you hate that you were just complaining about. If someone comes in, yeah, I understand you're being nice and you're doing something for your friend. Of course, understandable. But there shouldn't be one instance where you're upset with somebody expecting them to give you something, like they owe you something.
Yeah.
You're just doing what you think is right as a friend. They don't have to hold the same values, unfortunately. I
Yeah.
don't agree with I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying, but it's not up to them to give anything back to you. They're just a shitty friend at the end of the day. Like,
I just
call
feel
it what it is.
I just
don't
feel
know.
like it's a case by case scenario, because I feel like if you're one of those people who's just like, "Oh, I did this for you yesterday, you need to do this for me today," that's like, go fuck yourself.
But I
That's
think
just
it's also
business.
different too. Like, I think again, you can turn it into kind of a business transaction. Like, hey, can you do this for me? Yeah, I'll do that for you if you do this for me. I think if you lay the terms out immediately, that is automatically like it's still a favor, but now the expectation is set in place. And once you do it, it's a contract, a verbal contract, if anything. But this is one of those things where now your word is your bond, and I think you have to uphold it. And then the person has the right to be upset if they're, betrayed in a way. But until that is verbally said, this game of like, oh, well, they should have felt this or they should have done this is a huge mistake.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll be the one to say it. Like I'm though I've grown out of that phase of my life, I still try to hold people to my standards, which I know is an impossibility. I know I sound arrogant when I say that, but I can be disappointed, but I understand that's completely self-involved. So I shouldn't expect everybody to do me any favors or anything like that. And I don't, but I'll plug it again, episode 6, where we talked about like a reaction to things that are offensive. Like sometimes it's just, it's you creating that. Like no one around me, surrounding me has ever done anything gone out of their way to hurt me. But when I hold them to some expectations and they disappoint me, that's self-created. And I am now controlling this narrative where people around me are like letting me down, but to no fault of their own. They're just being themselves at the end of the day. So I don't expect like favors when I hand them out. When I hand them out, I understand 100% that they're never going to be returned, never ask for anything in return, and I shouldn't, because that is the difference between being kind and being nice. I don't know. Does that sound about right? Being kind? No, doesn't sound right. Okay, go ahead.
No, you're right. Like I said, you should, if you're doing things for other people, don't do it for, I mean, if you're doing it to boast your own ego, don't do it that way. Like, you should only do it for other people, but don't go in there essentially expecting the same in return. It would be nice that if you did like a crap ton of things for somebody out of kindness, and then like in a moment of need they help you out, and I mean like within reason. Again, not going to murder somebody or some shit, but I mean, I guess it's a ideology thing, and it depends per person, per case, this and that. It's a thin line, I guess, if you
Yeah.
want to say it.
I mean, also in general, it's just a life rule. If you want to be upset, just have expectations for anybody. It goes hand in hand with that like cliche that people have, like if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Like if you have any expectations in life at all, you should just be ready to be upset. Expect it. Now, I'm not saying be indifferent in life because that's also very boring, but sometimes I think a lot of people go into relationships, they go into jobs, they go into an experience with all these expectations, and I think that could doom you. Like that's why if somebody like wants to watch a movie or I recommend something, I generally want to lower their expectations because I don't want to set them up so high just to be let down. If anything, it's better to like, you know, promise low and over deliver, if you know what I mean. Like that's always a saying we talked about in other podcasts. And that's just expectations. And when it comes to being nice, don't expect anything in return because again, expectations of people to basically think the same way that you do, you're just dooming yourself and them. I'm not a big fan of that.
No, of course. And you shouldn't be, because that's not I don't think that's the correct mindset. You only set yourself up for failure and hurt at the end of the day, which is, yeah, something I grew out of. But you still know the people who are doing that on a daily basis. Textbook people pleasing is a psychological
Kiss assery.
It's not kiss ass. You're blurring the lines. It's not kissing ass.
I don't know if it's blurring the line as much as like defining them, but also like leaving out a huge portion of the definition.
And what is it? Sense. I mean, like, enlighten us.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, I made my distinction between niceness and kindness, Like, basically, nice is doing something even though you don't want to do it, is, like, summing it up even more. And kindness is doing something even though you don't have to, but you, like, want to do it. Like, yeah. Basically, you can say no versus you can't say no. And it's a psychological thing. Okay. That's how I define the difference.
So niceness is a psychological.
Yeah, I think niceness is a psychological problem of the need to please everybody around you, and kindness is you don't have to please anybody. You're just doing it because you want to or you feel like it. And it doesn't actually imply it, but it comes with you're not really expecting anything in return. You're just trying to be a good person. You're being kind.
I mean, that could be something that's nice, but the problem is being nice over and over again and not expecting anything in return can take a toll. If you're just doing it, you're just like what's the word? You're doing it chronically. Is that's the correct word? If you're just being nice because it's like you said, you're trying to gain something from somebody emotionally. Maybe it's something that makes you feel good at the end of the day.
But what if you're
you
nice?
Still don't okay, what I'm saying is you can still, kindness and niceness. If kindness is like doing something even though you don't have to and you understand what's involved with that, yes, a person being nice can also be doing something without expecting anything in return and understanding the risks involved, or like, but maybe it's just the fact that they can't say no. Is that what you said, Omid? They can't say, someone who's being nice cannot say no. They will continue to do that.
Yeah. They'll just
Right.
say yes
Or
to
they just have a
everything.
backbone.
Yeah, that sums it like, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not what, like, I don't agree that it's somebody who's just being fake continually. Like, they could
Yeah.
actually mean it, but they'll mean it until the end of time, until it destroys them. That's the issue.
Yeah. Again, I think
Yeah.
you put them in a corner when you use that kind of definition, like, oh, they have ulterior motives. Oh, they have this. Oh, they have that. And that's just like very
I mean, some
demonizing.
people do. Some people do. That's
No,
the
some
problem.
people do, but it's not all people. So when you define it as one way, you're implying that all of them feel that way. And I think that's why I didn't want to use a definition like that. I wanted to keep it as broad as possible, but kind of make it distinctual between the two words. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So basically, if you're going to define something, you can't just say it and then broaden it out to mean that everybody falls under that category.
No, of course, not everybody's gonna fall into it. You're gonna, like I said, that's why I said the whole thing. Your body, your gut can tell when someone is being genuine versus when they're not. It's very rare that somebody, like, you feel like, oh, this person actually is nice, like they actually seem to care, but then they fucking stab you in the back. That, I think, is the most like
Yeah.
devastating type
And
of thing.
I think that might be where the disconnect is. Like, I'm not saying anything about being genuine or not. I think for me, the distinction is they're still good people. It's just the ability to say no. The psychosis that comes with the ability to say yes or no. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not trying to say I don't like nice people because they're ulterior motives. I'm saying sometimes I just don't like nice people because it's very uncomfortable to be around somebody that you get the sense probably doesn't want to be there or doesn't want to be doing that, but they only said yes because they felt like they had to.
Yeah,
And
which
they-
is
Yeah.
sorry, which is actually, in fact, not to side with Vlad because I fucking hate him. It's actually disingenuous in a little bit. But they're not. I don't claim them to be fake people. Looking
Yeah.
for an
My
ulterior
definition
motive.
of fake, though, and I really hate this in every fucking human being, is that when you ask them to do something, this is worse than being nice. When you ask them to do something, instead of just saying, no, I don't want to do that, and leaving it at that, they want to tiptoe around your feelings or whatever bullshit that they're going through, and they make up an excuse. And the worst thing is that the excuse is so bad that they can't even follow up with it. You catch them in the lie, and they don't even realize that they recently told a lie to you, and you're just like, oh, okay. You couldn't just say, no, you don't want to. Now I'm fucking offended that you thought that my feelings needed preservations from you saying no. Who the fuck are you to me? You to me to think that I give so much of a shit about you saying yes or no. I am more offended that you lied to me because I don't fucking trust you as a human being. At least the person saying yes to be nice, at least they're like doing it with the intention of like, look, I want to make you happy and I'll go out of my way to do so. That's amazing. This motherfucker probably just didn't want to go or is being lazy, and that's when I'm like, fuck that person. Because that's just straight up lying.
Well, let me do you one better or worse. I don't know, depending how you look at it. Have you ever dealt with this person? And raise your hand if you are this person, because I know you fucking exist. If you're this guy, just stop. If you're somebody or a girl, if you're somebody who, like, someone asked you a favor, asked you for something in your mind, it ends up being like a favor. You have to go out of your way to do this. If you're somebody who's reaching beyond your means and beyond your capacity, and you put the entire scenario at risk, and like you actually end up in a worse position, don't be that person. Like, if someone asks you, like, I need your help moving, and you're like on a broken leg, and you're like still, number one, you'll probably be like, okay, well, I can probably try to help, right? Like, but I don't know what time I'll be available, or if I can make it in this car. I have to look around for somebody, right? So now you're evading the answer in a different fashion. Like, most likely you'll probably end up like scenario, if you have to move and you're on a broken leg, probably gonna be a no. But the fact that you're now creating layers of, I don't know, the thing could fall apart real quick. You're creating this like narrative where you are gonna try to help despite your own condition, right? So now the other person's gonna be waiting for you, even though, and the other person's probably be like, no, please don't. It's fine. I understand you're busy and you're hurt. and then you come back with, no, it's fine, let me check, blah, 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 blah. You're not in fact, blowing something out of proportion. You're making it worse for everybody involved. If you are, you know what I mean? You guys ever have to deal with that? Not verbatim with the scenario, but somebody who's like going beyond their means to try to help, and it's actually making things worse for everybody.
Yep.
Yeah. That is also a form of like niceness or people pleasing that you should be aware of if you are that person. Because sometimes, yeah, it's fine. You can say no. But by involving yourself, you are actually might be hurting the cause involved. Whatever it is, you know, that's just one scenario. So, yeah, I think it's, you should probably be aware of that. So, what do you guys think? I feel like we're inching up to a commercial break. Let me check with our sponsors. Is it commercial time? Yeah? Okay, I think they're going to cut us away. So after this, we will continue talking about more. I would like to actually talk about kindness more than niceness if I could be obliged. What do you think?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Let's take this wherever it goes.
Let's see where this crazy train takes us. Please don't sue us, Ozzy. Okay, so we'll be back in a minute after a word from our sponsors. See you soon. Does This Offend You is absolutely, definitely, and undoubtedly brought to you by this 100% totally real sponsor.
Today's episode is brought to you by this little jar of petroleum jelly or Vaseline that is usually found next to my bed/desk. And I would just like to announce that I don't use this for jerking off. Okay? I know everybody thinks it. They look at me and they think, oh, this guy jerks off a lot. And let me just throw out, I barely do. And even if I did, you think I'd use this? And that's the problem. You do think I would. And I just want to say that this is just some high quality chapstick/lip balm for me, okay? I take some, put it on my lips, smack them, you know, and I keep them moisturized. Why? Because dry lips suck, okay? They get cut, and this stuff really does help. You can put this stuff on wounds, and it's better than Neosporin. Why? Because your wounds need to be moisturized to heal. None of that antibacterial shit or whatever, Band-Aids. This works better. So for all you judgmental people out there that think I'm just, you know, jerking the meat, you know, busting loads all the time because this is next to my bed with where my tissues are, please don't go there. I have rags, first of all. I don't need no tissues, which I used to. Yeah, you know what? You're being judgmental, okay? I'm just putting it out there. So this is I guess technically a PSA that I'm not jerking off all the time.
What?
What the
I'm glad we got that out there.
Okay, so
So now the world knows.
Your parents must be so proud.
Not all the time. Yeah, they should be proud because it could be all the time, and that's what, you know, people might think. So this is clearly the better of the two, and that's a win.
okay, so apparently
How barely used that is. There's a lot left in it. I've had this jar for a long time, all right? Because I definitely need more than this if I was going to jerk off. Tell you what.
Tell your
Anyway.
all right. So Omid jerks off. Anyway, talking about
It's healthy.
It is very healthy, but
Wait, I thought you say you don't jerk off
The
all the time.
science is sketchy on it, but it's out there somewhere if you find the right ones. Don't look at me like that.
So do you jerk off? Or no? I don't understand. What the fuck's your
The
point
answer is maybe sometimes. We'll keep that a mystery because I like to leave a little bit of like wonder in there.
here?
All right, well,
You.
speaking of jerking off,
But I would like to point out that my external urethral sphincter is very strong.
okay.
It means I
Great.
can hold my pee very well.
So we just sat through what was less of a product placement or advertisement, as so much as it was that Omid's on Grindr now. I don't know what he's trying to tell us. So, well, we'll gloss right past that. Good luck to you, Omid. So, what we're talking about, kindness versus niceness, And before we went to the very profound and very confusing commercial break, we were talking about how a lot of nice people, and this is the word I missed earlier, are very compulsive in the way they do things. So there's a kind of a separation between kindness and niceness, is the fact that nice people can't really say no. So on the flip side of that coin, I really like to talk about what it truly means to be kind. So, gentlemen, what say you?
I thought by the end of the last one, you wanted to talk to us about kindness. You had something that you wanted to discuss.
Okay, fine. Throw it back at me. No problem. So I had this kind of locked in my head when we started the episode. Talking about actual kindness versus niceness. So we did touch base on like, I'll just go ahead. I'll say this because I came up with this phrase and, you know, fucking tattooed on your sleeve or something because I think it's really cool. So the path to kindness, to philanthropy, to like true selflessness is paved by selfish endeavors. Okay, we touched base on this kind of like when the episode started, but in order to do anything worthwhile that is kind, you have to be right with yourself before you can take on the responsibility of others. Does that make sense?
I know exactly what you're saying,
Right.
and I believe I agree, but I want you to expand on it before
Okay.
I commit to you.
So far, so good then. We have one person. Let me
But
just
no,
give
I
you,
think you're
yeah.
right. Like, I think if you're opening it up for interpretation, it's kind of like my political view where people are always like, "Oh yeah, help the needy, pay charity, pay whatever." And I'm just like, I see a homeless person and he's just like, "Please, I don't have any money. Could you please help me?" And I look at him like, "Bro, I got fucking negative money. I'm in debt, dude. Give me some money. Take some of my debt, please, because I can't afford to help you." Now, that's a joke, but in reality, I just genuinely feel like I'm not in a place to be donating money because I don't have any of it. It's not my money. I have to pay it all back with interest at some point down the line. I would like to give back, but only when I'm actually able to take care of myself first and give back. Then I can give back more. And it's a point where I'm not hurting myself when I give back. And I can do a lot more with that than when I have nothing, give more away, put myself in a deeper hole to a point where I might need to start asking for help. That's not my style. Is that kind of
Yeah.
like where you're getting at? Yeah.
That's the idea. Like, I'm not saying that you can't make a sacrifice, that if you had zero money and you gave more of the money you don't have, that is kindness, for real. But like, if you actually make a decision to do that, a conscious decision to do that, not just because it's impulsive, that's where we tread into our definitions of niceness, where like you have to. And I've been there. I used to work, I mean, I'm not used to, I've worked in San Francisco for a very long time. Now I'm remote, and I still do work in San Francisco, my other job. Too much information. Fuck you. So like, if I used to work deep in the heart of San Francisco, every day after work, I'd walk past like 50 freaking homeless people, dude. I'd have like food on me or something, or I'd have like $1 on me or something like that. And then I'd go out of my way, like when they ask me for something, give them $1. Next, like 50 feet, give this guy $1. Next 50 feet after that, here's like the rest of my fucking sweet tarts or whatever. And I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm just like I like have no money and no food to my name. And I have, for fuck knows why, dude. And for all I know, I could be actually hurting these people because they're not going out of their way to like make themselves better. Because you're just giving them stuff. You're giving it away. They can't build off of they can't build character that way, or like a real life if they're just being handed things. Whatever. That's a little too far into that problem. But I realized one day, like when I was trying so hard to just make everyone around me happy, compulsively, again, even if it's complete freaking strangers, even if they're just like a friendly face I see every day, like another homeless guy who doesn't even know the fuck I am or recognize me, even though I see them every day, going out of my way to give them my money and my food was only hurting myself and not doing anything for them. Again, I'm not saying that you can't do that, but you want to really make an impact, you really want to make a difference, get right with yourself first, mentally, fiscally, physically. I don't care what it takes. In order to actually make a real impact and be kind to others, like you have to take care of yourself first. There's only so much of yourself you can give it away, whether it be mentally or fiscally or like time, whatever. All that shit takes a toll on you. Like we mentioned earlier, it whatever the currency is, it's being removed from you and given to someone else. And you have to have it first before you can give it away. You can't run yourself into nothing, and therefore there is nothing past that. When you are done with, if you're gone, if you're dead, whatever it is, if you run out of money and you run out of time and you can't like lift a finger because you're too tired at the end of the day, whatever it is, after that, you can't give it away. There's nothing you can do for anyone else if you cannot set yourself straight. And I think that's very important when it comes to actually being kind in this world. You have to be selfish first. You have to get somewhere where you make yourself available to others in a non-detrimental fashion.
No, yeah, I agree. Go on, Vlad.
So I agree with you in regards to the concept of if you can't help yourself, you can't help others. I mean, that's as simple as it is. If you can't, support yourself, your own family, your whatever, your own well-being, you trying to do for other people, you're essentially kind of a dead brick at that point. You have nothing to offer. But at the same time, I gotta ask, this is in today's world with like donations and stuff, is it really gonna be kindness, or is it more of like a tax write-off for a lot of people? Does it really have any real beneficial for most individuals who are actually going out of their way to trying to like quote unquote give these donations? And as well, like you brought up the homeless people, you give people dollars. I personally say don't give homeless people money, because homeless people use that money to go and do stuff that's not probably beneficial for them. What I would say is if you want to help a homeless person, go buy them some clothes, get them some fucking food, maybe put them up in an apartment or something, just somewhere they can actually, use it, because I don't trust them to go and use that, what my hard-earned cash in a positive manner. Maybe that's more of like a dark stance, but that's just me. I don't think that if I give you money as a homeless person, you're gonna go and fucking buy yourself food. You're probably gonna go buy yourself some alcohol, maybe some drugs, or whatever the fuck they do. That's honestly, and it's not because they're bad people, just they're usually depressed and they have issues. So that's their kind of their way out. So, question for you though is again, do you feel like today's society giving people donations, quote unquote, is honestly kindness, or is it more of a tax break for them at the end of the year?
So, I think what I don't like about taxes is that they have money going to these entitlement programs, and it almost removes from people that might genuinely want to be like giving. And that same goes with the incentives. I really don't like that. Like, sure, you need to incentivize people that have more money to donate, because I think it's also unfair if they have to like donate a higher portion of their money, they earned it, whatever. It's nice if they want to give it away, but I don't think we should force people to do it, because I think it takes away from their generosity. Now, it's I'm sorry, what was the other point you made?
I was talking about the homeless people getting given
Yeah,
money.
yeah. So when it comes to homeless people, I don't even think giving them money is a good idea, not because like s- I don't know what they're gonna do with the money, to be honest, but I think the one thing that I personally prefer to do for homeless people is to give them food, because I think food is one thing, like as you said, like clothes, shelter, yeah, that's all great things. Like I personally wouldn't shelter a homeless person because I'm not afraid of getting murdered. I just don't want my shit to get dirty and stinky and then it costing me more money to take care of them. And I know that's very judgmental and shit of me, but I'm being honest. Um, Maybe one day if I'm rich enough, I'll have a guest house and I can shelter some homeless person and take care of them. Who knows? I don't plan on it, but whatever. Like that's a more reasonable option than having my apartment in the city and being like, "Oh, I just found a homeless person. They're gonna sleep in here today." That's just stupid. But when it comes to giving a homeless person food, when I give a homeless person money, I expect it to go to sustenance and to guarantee that they are getting sustenance to survive another day at least. I'd rather give them the food. And there's some homeless people, especially in San Francisco, they might be batshit crazy or they might just be looking to get high. You give them food, they'll throw it on the ground or they'll get offended and yell at you. And
Yeah,
I'll be like, all right, cool. Fuck you too. I'm just trying to
exactly.
be a good person. And you clearly don't want sustenance, you just want money.
And for
And
abuse, for
most
substance abuse.
likely, most likely for some form of abuse. And if you have some kind of problem, I'd rather be responsible for you going cold turkey on whatever it is than to feed into it little by little. Because you clearly got to where you are because you have no self control or whatever other reason there might be. And Here's some food. Survive another day. If you already got food from somebody, stockpile it. I don't give a fuck what you do with it. But this will do you more good than the couple bucks I might give you. Now, if I give you $100, that might do more for you. But, you know, the only way I'd ever give a homeless person $100 is if I see like a budget plan for that $100, so I know exactly where it's going.
So here's the thing that I actually want to touch on because you brought this up beforehand during this last topic is companies, organizations who are being, used to help the needy, yada yada. We all know Elon Musk. He was told, "You have so many billions. Give us $7 billion. Let us end world hunger." What did Elon Musk say in return? He's like, "Fine, I'll give you $7 billion. I'm fine with that, but you need to show me, specifically to the Red Cross, how you're gonna end world hunger." They never gave him a response.
And that's why that man owns 10% of Twitter now, because he
I thought it was
dominates
9.
that. Same shit. Rounding up. It's much nicer to say 10 in my opinion. But no, it's very true. Most people just want your money. They don't have a plan for it.
And they just make claims.
Yeah. But also, I will say this. I don't know what the deal with Elon Musk is. I really appreciate his social media because it makes him seem more transparent. But I'm also just convinced that Jeff Bezos and all these other like Fortune 500 company CEOs or whatever, a ton of money, most of it's just PR. Like as you said, they get tax breaks and stuff, but a lot of all the nice things they do in this world is just PR.
Probably. I'm not questioning that. I don't know Elon Musk personally to be able to tell you, like, yeah, he's a great guy. I don't see his finances to be like, yeah, he's doing all this. I'm going off of same as everybody else, what we hear and see, but it could all be bullshit.
Yeah. Not that it makes a difference, but again, I just don't care if I hear these people doing whatever charities. At this point, I'm just like, you know what? It's better than them doing nothing. Because sometimes you see someone and you're like, if they had the choice, they probably wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
That's why I say it's tax breaks. It's a tax break for a lot of people. It's not. I don't think that it's very rare to find genuine kindness in this world.
No, yeah, I agree. Kindness is a rarity. It's really hard to actually give, and true kindness isn't really. It's not done in the eyes of the millions of the masses. Like these people who are like quote unquote philanthropists and they give away all their money, they piss it away on like some organization. It's one thing, but personally, you don't have to feel this way. I don't like having my money or whatever I do go to some sort of ambiguous place. Like you can give it to like the Goodwill or whatever, insert organization here who's like doing good for people. But then after you hand off the money, you don't know what the fuck it's being used for, and I don't like that. Okay, I mean that's more of like a tangible experience. I don't like that per se. I'm the kind of guy who I would take one homeless person, get them like a job interview and a shirt or something, and see them to fruition or to failure, whatever it's on them, rather than just give away like $1 million to just some fucking random charity or something like that. I have always hated that about this like American culture. Like you see like on TV all the time, or like they're like rich people playing for charity. Like if they are on a game show and they win money, it's like it goes to the charity of their choice, and it's like, well, how much of that is that actually going back into the community? I don't fucking know, and that's what scares me about that. That's just one thing. That's one form of kindness, and it's a scary thought, knowing that all of your hard-earned money or the money that you've won, whatever, is just going to fucking nothing. I think like a few years ago, I read that like the Goodwill is literally just a big giant tax write-off because they pay their workers minimum wage, but they also like cite them as like contractors or something. Don't quote me on this. There's like an actual, you can find this out. It's like public knowledge now, but their workers came forward and talked to them about like the practices of the Goodwill, and it's like really shady shit. So I don't like that. So on your note about tax write-offs, I don't call that kindness. I call that mutually beneficial contract, I guess, if you want to call it that. It's like you can help people out and give your money away, and then you get that money back while these people they're actually people in need using that, what you gave to them, whatever it is, and you're getting like a tax write-off. Fine. That's not really kindness though, right? I think that's just you doing you guys exchanging favors. It's a currency exchange, literally, and also like, figuratively. I don't really buy into that as kindness. I wouldn't call that kindness. What I I do have something to say about the homeless. You guys have like a minute for a short story about like the homeless. If we're talking about homeless people and like being kind towards homeless people, right? That's just one form of kindness.
Only if I have to have a minute. You're
Okay.
the boss, Danny.
Yeah.
You have to tell us.
All right, I'm gonna do it anyway. So
That's
this is
what I
like
thought.
this is a very. I think this is a pretty good story, an analogy, if you will, based in reality. When it comes
Yes,
to
boss.
defining, yes, thank you. Don't. I mean, there's a guy in the room holding a gun to them. By the way, they're also my goons are in the room.
He
they're off-
won't give me a
Yeah.
key to the bathroom and I have to take a shit.
Shut up. Shut up.
I'm like Britney Spears.
Oh my God! Please don't report me.
I
So
have Stockholm Syndrome. I love you, Danny.
shut
I
up.
miss you. He hurts me because he loves me.
I don't want to have to hurt you, so don't make me.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
All right. Anyway, what I was saying. So, like a month ago, I was in Las Vegas with my girlfriend, which is also like, I'll get to that in a minute. But on the street of Las Vegas, because there's something, I'll get there. But anyway, on the streets of Las Vegas, guy comes up to me, homeless guy. He says, he's like, hey man, he's like clearly drunk, but I didn't care because I was also clearly drunk. So I was in a good mood, I guess. I broke my own rule about like giving money away after growing up and learning the better. This guy asked me for money. He's like, you have like some change? You have like a quarter or two or something? And I'm like, what's it for? He's like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I want some beer. I'm like, well, at least you're honest. I'll give you that. I'm in a good mood. So I took out my wallet and I pulled out $1. And I was handing him the dollar. And behind the dollar was a 20, and I didn't realize it until the moment I was handing it to him, and I like split it right before I put it in his hands. I'm like, oh, sorry, not that much. And I put it in his hands, and he fucking walked. He like made a beeline behind me and started yelling at the top of his lungs, "Test me, test me!" And it's like getting further away. He's like yelling even louder so I can hear him. Test me, test me. And the fucking funny part about it was he accepted my money and had the audacity to like yell at me, but also did it while he was walking away. Like the whole thing was freaking bizarre to me. So it's like a testament to how being nice is sometimes not good for anyone involved. I lost money, it went to a bad cause, and the person directly involved with my charity is ungrateful for it. Not only ungrateful, offended by my charity. It was an accident. You know, I understand the act might have been offensive, but at the end of the day, he walked away with my dollar. He could have thrown it back in my face and be like, I don't want your fucking pity money, you piece of shit. Like you're making like an example of me or something. You're making a joke out of me. It could have been that easy. So remember that, folks. In the future, if you're being like nice, sometimes it's like, it's a detriment to fucking everybody. No one walks away clean from it. It sucks. The whole thing just sucks.
So, would you say that this is a bit of a turn, but would you consider empathy, kindness to be a form of weakness?
It can be construed as weakness. I actually think it's
because I could say if you're super kind to people all the time,
Yeah.
you are, you get to the point where people can walk all over you. I can say you have no fucking backbone. You're a bitch.
no,
I
you
think
yeah.
So we're back to nice people, right?
I think
Yeah.
I think it's time that you need to fucking grow the fuck up and stop being so goddamn nice and friendly to everybody and start taking some responsibility for your own self and kind of making sure people respect you and treat you accordingly, because as of right now, people walk all over you, use you like a fucking doormat. You have no backbone, you have no stance, you have no territory, you're nobody. Tomorrow you might be with a girl or vice versa, whatever, and somebody come over can just grab your fucking other significant other because you're a fucking bitch, and they know you have no fucking backbone to do anything about it.
Yeah, that's true. What's the old phrase? I can't believe no one's brought it up. Nice guys finish last. You know, that's the reason that phrase exists is because you can try your best to try to make everyone and everything happy and display some empathy, but if it's all you're doing, then people will just take advantage of you, and then until you're at that point where you're run dry, out of everything, whatever the currency is, there's nothing left to give, and you're hurt for it, while other people just are like unwittingly just going about their lives like on your back. The reason I brought up my girlfriend, sorry, I know you're gonna be watching this later, honey. Please don't hate me for this. But like she is, it's like a textbook people pleaser.
She knows where you live.
She does. I can hear her. Oh my God. Let's cut this podcast short before I get my ass beat on on television. Yeah, no, I tell her this several times. I talk to her from experience all the time about like, dude, please don't do this. Like, no one's grateful for what you're doing, and you're hurt at the end of the day. And it pains me to see it. Obviously, as her boyfriend, someone I care about so deeply. Like, please stop doing this for that person. I'm not gonna get into the details because it's obviously very personal. I'll leave it at that. Like, you shouldn't be giving yourself away every single day to people who just don't give a shit at the end of the day. Or here's something that's even worse. They start expecting it from you, which is
Fuck society.
Yes, fuck society. When people start expecting your niceness as like 100, like that's something they want from you and they expect it from you, that is dangerous. That is not just like selfish of them. It is actually dangerous. That thought process, because that hurts everybody involved.
I concur.
Yeah, I don't like it, and you are. I don't know who's at fault, honestly. Who to blame? The person who's giving it away, or the person who accepts it and expects it?
No, the person's giving it away because you're the bitch.
Yeah, but like people can just say no to your niceness. As hard as
of course.
We described
thing is,
earlier.
though,
It's very hard for them to say
no.
Yeah, I
They
know.
can say no.
They can say
Yeah.
no,
It's
and
hard
it's
for you.
their fault if they don't say no, and that's why I have a problem with the niceness. But it's just also another problem where there's people that if they know you're too nice, they're gonna take advantage of you, and it's literally nobody's fault but your own. But that person, if they're knowingly asking you something because they know you're gonna say yes, is also kind of a dick, in my opinion. Because it's just like, bro, leave them alone. Like, they're not capable of saying no. Ask somebody else or figure it out on your own, But some people just don't want to do that. I think there's just some people that are also very dependent on others to help them or bail them out of shit. And they're also the dicks in this situation.
I'll just say that the people
Yeah.
who are being nice are the enabler, because if you're nice and people start taking advantage of you, you don't have the fucking means to be like, yo, fuck off after a while. You're literally enabling them to do what they want. You're giving them the keys of the fucking kingdom at that point. That's on you.
Yeah, here's one thing that I do have an issue with. As somebody who is sometimes too nice, and I'm really trying to work on it, I did have one person who always asked me for favors, and I thought I was a friend, and I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll do that favor for you. And one day I was like, man, I need something from them. Hey, do you mind doing this for me? And they brought up a scenario where they're like, oh yeah, well, since you did this for me, I can do this for you. And I was like, oh, really? Like, it wasn't the 10 other times I literally did this favor for you? And then they're like, oh, what are you talking about? I did that for you. Or like, no, she was like, oh, I thought like I was doing you a favor by doing that for you. And I was like, hold the fuck up. No, 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 no. Do you really think I wanted to waste my Friday afternoon doing this favor for you when I could have been doing my own thing? And now you turned my favor to you into the reverse, like as if I owe you for that. I got pissed. Ever since that moment, I just stopped saying yes to anything they wanted because I was just like, this is fucked up. I did not plan on calling in any favors, but I definitely needed one, and I was gonna like at least cash one in with somebody that I knew like needs to pay something forward. And I was like, man, in their head, I'm in debt to them.
This scenario flip is brought to you by women.
You nailed it.
Oh my god. Sure.
Ugh!
Honestly, we could have a whole episode on that.
Nailed it, Vlad. It was. And I was just like, what fucking psychosis do you have? Like, what the fuck is literally wrong with you? And I told him straight up, no, like, I'm still gonna take that favor from you. And then after that, like, I didn't know at the time, but they had a family death and they needed the similar favor. And I was like, nope. Nope. You
Nice.
used up everything, and this is your chance to now learn. Don't fuck up using somebody else's niceness. Like, use it when you fucking need it. And they got screwed over. I mean, somebody eventually bailed them out because it was an actual family emergency, and at some point somebody was, but it wasn't me, and I was very happy about that. And let me tell you, for them to have the audacity to be like, oh yeah, this person doesn't do anything for me, I was like, you fuck off.
Yeah, that's a
It
situation.
left a bitter taste in their mouth, and I was okay with it because I don't want to associate with that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an
Proud
exact
of you.
situation where no one came out clean because of it. Like if through no fault of your own, but I mean, you're being nice continually, and
Yeah.
for
And it wasn't
persistently.
even
Yeah.
unique niceness. It was like
Yeah.
I do that for a lot of people, and a lot of times I've been bailed out. Wasn't a similar like 1-to-1 ratio for being paid back, but sometimes it's just like, oh hey, I need this. Yo, I got your back. You know, like
Yeah.
sometimes you see the people that genuinely are like, okay, this person will do it for me, so therefore I'm gonna do it for them because I know that like this not my time is not being wasted. This is at least a good investment for me to help this person. And I appreciate that at least. At least that recognition that I would be there for you. And
That's
there's other
good.
people that just don't see that.
Right, but also you don't have to expect it either. But it is very nice when
I
there's that
told
word.
you I
Yeah.
don't expect it,
I know.
but you sometimes you're just like I needed help and nobody was there. Fuck off.
Case by case scenario, I feel like. is
Every
appropriate.
time. It's
Well-
and that's my argument for everything. Everything is a case by case, person to person, individual basis.
So I think it's fair to say like another very great difference between the two concepts is I think kindness is something you have to be responsible with, and it should be given to those people you think deserve it and have earned it in a way. I know it's not always the case. Sometimes it can be an emergency for somebody who's like a complete garbage person. I have no idea. Maybe it's on your shoulders to do that. But I think true kindness has you have to deal with it responsibly.
But the thing is, I don't think you have to think about it that way. Yes, I agree with that. Niceness is
Yeah.
definitely just giving yourself away. But I think kindness, I think there is a responsibility implied, but you can't think about it like that because at the end of the day, you're just doing something because either A, you want to, or, you know, you, like I said, you could say no. And with that comes yeah, I mean, I did it, but I don't expect anything in return.
I'll take your clothes off.
That's an important implication. Yeah. The implication. I just thought of the It's Always Sunny reference. The implication.
The implication. Yeah. Oh my God.
When he said not take your clothes off, my mind went straight there.
Yeah. 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 That's kindness as a weapon, an example of that. But I don't want to get too deep into it. But I think that I think a part of true kindness is you have to be responsible, man. I hate using the word
That
responsibility.
note specifically about taking your clothes off is a nice nod to people having an alternative agenda when they're nice to you.
Yeah, that's
Not
fair,
not at all. That's gross.
Yeah,
That's
that's just awful.
you're like the Harvey Weinstein of this podcast right now.
I'm just saying, a lot of guys are like that.
So did he. He was just saying, but he was like, no, for real.
Okay. Jesus Christ. I did want to bring this up because this is kind of like a wrench in our whole episode. But I remember talking about niceness and kindness. I remember this old story. It's like it comes from like a religious thing. I don't know, maybe. I don't know if you guys have heard the story before, but it's like a guy walks into a church and he gives away like $1,000, puts it in the fucking basket or whatever. You know, it doesn't have to be a church. It could be whatever. Guy walks into like a Walmart, puts it in the fucking donation for charity for $1,000. Right? This guy's loaded. Walks off, no big deal. Blah blah blah. Like a lady comes in. She's fucking raggedy and poor, and she has like 50 cents to her name on her. And then she puts that in the charity bin. Who is the most kind? What is the true kindness?
Fucking A.
Yeah. Who is true kindness?
The person
What is true kindness?
The person who
Yeah.
has less money, obviously, because you have nothing to work with, essentially. It's also a really dumb move, but it's genuinely just like you're doing what probably wouldn't be a good idea or isn't sensible for a person in your position. You're doing it to what you think is right.
Mhm.
It's dangerous, it's reckless, but at the same time, you're doing a good thing, quote unquote.
Exactly. It goes against everything I brought up personally, which is like it's irresponsible, it's detrimental. Yeah, and it's just, but
It's stupid.
It's stupid. Yeah, but it's
It
true.
is.
It's
It
true.
is.
It's true sacrifice. Therefore, I think it is true kindness.
So do we measure kindness by sacrifice?
I think that's part of it. Yeah. Why? Of course it is. Like you're giving something away to something of value to yourself.
When
That-
it comes
yeah.
to kindness, it never implies you're getting something out of it.
Yeah. True kindness is completely selfless. Yeah.
It's a giving.
Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be money, as I stated earlier.
No,
Anything.
no. It's
Yeah.
time.
Time is something,
Giving
sure.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever it is. You're giving something away when you don't
Sexual
have to.
favors.
Sure,
Okay.
man. Being kind in bed is another form of kindness. I don't know. Being generous. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of threw a wrench in everything we just talked about. But
No wrench. It's the same
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Like I
But-
said, there's the different definitions, and it has nothing to do with like
Yeah.
means either. Like if they gave that money, they don't want it, and they wanted to give, by all means do it. You know, it's almost like which guy do you think loves you more, and then your scenario, the one that has millions of dollars and they spend like 50K to buy you a diamond, necklace, or the guy that has like no money to his name, but he buys you the same diamond necklace. Which one had to put in more effort or gave up a higher percentage of whatever they're making? The guy that has no money that bought that shit is a fucking idiot. And you can make the argument that they might love you more, but you can also make the argument that like, they don't have the means. And honestly, that guy is probably not a good, you know, match for you because that guy cannot support your ass. Let's be real. But I do want
Very
to
Jewish mentality right there,
Yeah.
sir.
I'm just keeping it real, mister. I guess that your friend was a woman person. Okay. But on what you said, there is a religious concept when it comes to the idea of charity and giving and basically the righteousness that's tied to it. And basically, like, there's different levels of this righteousness. And they say that, like, the lowest form is somebody who gives the money and, like, tells everybody and they let it be known. And it's not even a lot, but it's
Like all
something.
those YouTube, Instagram videos where they walk around giving homeless people money, but there's like a camera behind them recording it
No,
for
yeah.
clout.
I also call them Persian Jews, but that's a different argument. Straight up,
Oh
like if
wow.
you go to like, I mean, in general, like most synagogues that like need a lot of donations, they will like announce how much money you gave and like announce the prize that you're getting or whatever, or like the honor. And it's just so fucking annoying. It turns into like a
Cringe.
bidding war. It is disgusting. I fucking hate it. It does removes from the religion, but it's something that's I guess necessary because if they want money, people respond to clout, and that's how you give it to them. Now, skipping all the in-betweens because I genuinely don't know, the highest level of righteousness when it comes to giving and charity and kindness is the person that just gives and nobody knows. Nobody knows. There's no hints that they did it. There's no name tied to it. Literally, it's that person in the classroom that is sitting behind you during an exam and like the pencil falls behind them on the desk and this guy just goes, picks the pencil up, puts it on their desk and continues with their exam and doesn't mention a word to anybody. That's the guy that
Yeah.
genuinely just
Agreed.
wanted to do something good and didn't need recognition or anything for it. They just wanted the
Agreed.
world to spin in a way that was better for everyone involved, and it meant nothing to him whether or not he picked that up. It's the same thing as the shopping cart philosophy. Like, what type of person are you with your shopping cart in the parking lot? Where do you put it? And it says a lot about your personality. I think these are all like interesting indications of like, are you actually a good person? Or are you just being nice because you want people to know that you're nice or kind? Like, you want to give them that perception.
Yeah. I think true kindness goes unnoticed, but it's felt. Like you can maintain total anonymity, but you do make an impact to some degree for people. Whether it be making it easier for that poor guy at Costco collecting 100 carts, an hour, making his job easier when you don't have to do that thing. Or
I
picking
mean,
up the pencil up.
bringing back the cart to the corral
Yeah.
is the not piece of shit thing to do.
Yeah, but you also don't have to do it, and there's no repercussions for
I
not
know.
doing it.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying it's the not piece of shit thing to do.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, you're not that guy. We can have a whole episode on this. You're not those motherfuckers who put all their shit on YouTube. Like, hey, I came up to this fucking homeless guy. I gave him like a Ferrari and a haircut or something, and it's just like posted, and they get millions of views and likes, and you're just that kind of disgusts me, man. I don't know. We can have a whole episode on that, but you're not that guy. You're the person who like does it in the complete darkness and then could carry on with your life. And I think that's true kindness. You make a conscious effort on a daily basis to make the world a better place, but ask nothing for it, and you're totally fine going unnoticed. It's fine, and that's the way it should be.
It's good for the environment too.
Okay, so given all that, do you have anything else to add, fellas?
Look, if you have a good heart, I'm proud of you and all that stuff. Don't lose your way, but just don't be a fucking bitch. Don't let people walk all over you.
Great. You can put that on a plaque on your above your bed.
It's my inspirational quote for the world. Float around now.
Oh, be good, but don't be a little bitch. Don't. Yeah, you're a motivational speaker, Vlad.
Hell, baby.
The world needs you. Yeah. Omid, anything else to add?
No, I just think that like if more people in the world were focused on being kind, I think the world would be a slightly better place. With the implication that like it is okay to be selfish once in a while, especially if you need it. Everybody needs their, me time or their me moments where they are, taking care of themselves. But I also think that in general, as much as I have referenced before that I don't like socialism or anything, the ideas behind socialism of everybody helping each other and trying to help the world go around and be a better place, I think is a beautiful concept. And I think people just naturally should gravitate to want to do that because I personally think even as somebody that doesn't need a lot of help in this world, there's always somebody that does. And there's more things that you can do than, give your money to help somebody. And I think kindness is the very least you can do in this world.
Very well put, friend. Yeah. I think in short, be good to others, be good to yourself, and leave the world a much better place than the way you found it.
That's literally what I fucking said, Danny.
Yep.
Just do it naked.
Say your own thing.
I'm just summarizing. You talk too much.
Just do it naked.
I already did that. You guys are behind.
Okay. Well, that's fine. That's one example of not being kind, because my feelings are now hurt. So
good, because you stole my fucking send off.
All right. Well, fuck you. I'm closing this episode out.
Somebody's feelings got hurt.
Yeah, I'm very much hurt. We're gonna have a nice. Stop walking all over me. All right.
I'm sorry.
All right. So that'll
shut the fuck up, boss.
Fuck you. All right, Gino, break his legs.
Oh.
All right. So that'll do it for us today at Does This Offend You? If you have your own stories about kindness or niceness, or want to talk about someone you know who's nice or kind and has impacted your life and the world around you, please feel free to share it in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, share, tell everybody how kind you are. Be good to others. I am Danny. That is Vlad. That is Omid. That send-off was not kind because I put myself first. I don't give a damn. Next week, we talk about Persians and all the perfume they put on. Bring your nose plugs.
Yeah, that's funny because I just bought some cologne with some people.
Oh my god, there it is.